Florida's condo market isn't crashing everywhere, but in specific cities, the math has changed dramatically. Not because of clickbait headlines, but because of real structural shifts. Post-Surfside regulations, insurance market contraction, and HOA costs that have doubled in 3 years. This isn't about fear, it's about facts. Today, we examine 5 Florida cities where condo ownership has become financially challenging for middle-class buyers and retirees, the people these properties were built for. Before we dive in, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, some condos are still selling well. Yes, luxury waterfront units in certain areas remain strong. But for the under $500,000 market, where most Floridians actually live, conditions have shifted. According to Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta data, South Florida's condo inventory under $500,000 saw 11 to 12 months of supply in early 2025, compared to a balanced market benchmark of 9 months. Prices in Broward and Palm Beach dropped 6 to 7% year over year in Q1 2025. The reasons are structural, not speculative. After the Surfside collapse in June 2021, Florida enacted comprehensive condo safety laws requiring milestone inspections at 30 years, or 25 years if within 3 miles of the coast, reserve funding for repairs, and recertification every decade. These aren't bad laws. They're necessary. But they've created immediate financial pressure on older buildings and their owners. If you're tracking Florida's housing market shifts and want data-driven analysis without the hype, hit that subscribe button now. We break down what's really happening in real estate markets across America, one city at a time. Number 5, Orlando. Orlando's condo market tells a story many don't want to hear. Tourism doesn't insulate you from affordability. Median condo prices in the metro area have stabilized around $230,000 to $250,000 in 2025, down from pandemic-era peaks near $310,000. That's roughly a 20% correction from the top. Monthly ownership costs have become the real issue. Average HOA fees in Orlando condo complexes range from $400 to $650 monthly, depending on amenities and building age. Insurance, which averaged $1,800 to $2,200 annually in 2020, now runs $3,500 to $5,000 for typical condo policies in Florida. Add property taxes and a 7% mortgage, and you're looking at $2,000 plus monthly before utilities. For a city where median household income sits around $60,000 to $65,000, that's 40% of gross income on housing alone, well above the recommended 30% threshold. Short-term rental investors near International Drive and the tourist corridor are feeling the squeeze. Inventory increased 35% year over year from May 2024 to May 2025 in the Orlando area, giving buyers leverage but leaving sellers with properties sitting longer. Airbnb occupancy rates have softened, and increased supply means nightly rates face downward pressure. It's not just demand, it's carrying costs. As one viewer commented, association fees cost more than the mortgage. That's increasingly true for older buildings facing mandatory reserve requirements and deferred maintenance. Number 4, Tampa. Tampa's condo market correction is real, but not catastrophic. Median condo prices dropped from approximately $310,000 at the 2021 to 2022 peak to around $230,000 to $250,000 in 2025, roughly a 20 to 25% decline. Inventory has increased significantly, with active listings up 60 to 85% compared to 2021 levels, creating a buyer's market. Tampa represents Florida's new reality. Strong job growth and population inflow can't overcome structural cost increases. The city added thousands of residents during the pandemic, many remote workers fleeing higher tax states. But, as one viewer noted, people are moving back home to the north. HOA fees in Tampa Waterfront and Bayshore condos now average $500 to $900 monthly, up from $350 to $450 just 3 years ago. Insurance near coastal zones has tripled in some cases, reaching $7,000 to $9,500 annually for buildings in flood-prone areas. For a median-income household in Tampa, $70,000, sustaining a $2,400-plus monthly housing payment isn't feasible long-term. Realtors report a cultural shift. The most common buyer question used to be about square footage or finishes. Now it's, what's the insurance situation? And are there pending special assessments? That's a market driven by caution, not confidence. Number 3. Sarasota. Sarasota's Gulf Coast luxury image took a hit when affordability crashed into reality. Condos that sold for $500,000 to $600,000 in 2022 now list around $400,000 to $450,000, representing approximately a 25 to 30% correction. Inventory jumped over 60% year over year as sellers flooded the market. Insurance costs are the primary culprit. Annual premiums that once ran $3,000 to $4,000 now exceed $8,000 to $9,000 for older coastal buildings. Post-Surfside regulations require milestone structural inspections and reserve funding, triggering special assessments of $20,000 to $50,000 per unit in buildings that deferred maintenance for years. As one viewer shared, "I bought a penthouse in 2017 in Daytona Beach. My expenses of HOA, insurance, taxes have tripled to over $3,000 per month, and it sits vacant now for 4 years." That's not clickbait, that's real financial pain. Rental yields that once justified investment have collapsed. Properties that generated 6 to 7% returns now struggle to hit 3 to 4% after expenses. Airbnb occupancy in Sarasota dropped as supply exploded, and tourist spending patterns shifted post-pandemic. Realtors describe open houses, where out-of-state investors walk out mid-tour, saying, "We'll wait another year." That's not irrational fear. It's risk assessment. Why buy today when prices may drop further and carrying costs keep rising? Number 2. Cape Coral. Cape Coral was the pandemic darling. Waterfront living at affordable prices. Median condo values nearly doubled from 2019 to 2022, peaking around $340,000. By mid-2025, they've fallen to approximately $240,000 to $260,000, a 25 to 30% decline from the top. This is where climate risk meets financial reality. Insurance for waterfront condos exploded from $3,500 to $4,000 annually in 2020 to over $10,000 to $12,000 in 2025. Multiple private insurers exited the Florida market entirely, forcing thousands of owners onto Citizens Property Insurance, the state-backed insurer of last resort. Post-Hurricane Ian, flood protection requirements and structural repairs triggered special assessments of $20,000 to $30,000 per unit in older complexes. For retirees on fixed incomes, that's catastrophic. As one commenter wrote, "I'm losing my house, Pensacola, Florida. I need to move for my and my wife's health. I can't sell, but I can't stay. I'm walking out. There goes my credit." Inventory has increased over 90% year over year, as owners panic sell before costs escalate further. But buyers are scarce. Why? Because monthly ownership costs, HOA fees, $600 to $900, insurance, $10,000 plus annual, property taxes and mortgage, exceed $2,500 to $3,000. That's unaffordable for most middle-class households. Number 1. Pensacola. Pensacola represents the most painful correction because it was supposed to be affordable. Median condo prices peaked around $310,000 in 2022 and have dropped to approximately $215,000 to $230,000 in 2025, a 28 to 31% decline. This was the middle-class dream: military stability, Gulf Coast beaches, small city charm, and lower costs than South Florida. But the dream broke under the weight of structural cost increases that nobody anticipated. HOA fees increased from $350 to $400 to $700 to $850 monthly. Insurance tripled from $2,500 to $3,000 to $7,000 to $9,000 annually. Special assessments of $20,000 to $40,000 hit aging buildings facing recertification. And all this in a city where median household income is just $60,000. Do that math. Monthly ownership costs exceed $2,200 to $2,500 in a city where median income is $5,000 per month gross. It doesn't work. Inventory has surged 90% year over year as sellers desperately try to exit before the next assessment hits. But buyers have vanished. Airbnb investors who once flocked to the Panhandle are gone. Occupancy dropped below 50%, nightly rates fell 20%, and long-term rental income can't cover expenses. This isn't about speculators losing money. It's about teachers, nurses, military families, and retirees trapped in properties they can no longer afford. As one viewer noted, Florida's condo slide makes sense with insurance spikes, special assessments, stricter reserve rules, and rising inventory. Do you think this correction will make buying safer or just push more buyers away? The answer? Both. Prices are correcting, but until carrying costs stabilize, demand will remain suppressed. Florida's condo market isn't experiencing a universal collapse, but specific segments are in serious distress. The under $500,000 market, where most Floridians actually live, faces structural headwinds: post-Surfside regulations, necessary but costly, insurance market contraction, and HOA costs that have doubled. These 5 cities, Orlando, Tampa, Sarasota, Cape Coral, and Pensacola, illustrate what happens when carrying costs exceed income capacity. This isn't clickbait. It's reality for thousands of owners watching equity evaporate and monthly bills escalate. The market will eventually stabilize, but not at 2022 prices. The new normal means lower valuations, stricter underwriting, and a painful adjustment period for anyone who bought at the top. If you're considering a Florida condo purchase, do 3 things. Verify insurance availability and cost, confirm reserve funding status, and calculate total monthly ownership costs, not just the purchase price. Knowledge is the only protection in a shifting market. Stay ahead of the curve. Subscribe to Housing Intel for unfiltered real estate analysis that cuts through the noise. Part 2 of this series drops next week. We're covering 5 more Florida cities where the condo math has broken. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it.